Listen up, guys. We're actually going to get the events today of what happened back at the Reverie. What happened when the revolutionaries invaded. For once, we didn't cut back to something else completely. We're actually going to see the continuation of this. This is what happened. Last week, we ended in Kamabaka Queendom. Today, we begin there. Sabo begins explaining to Ivankov and Dragon the 3 things that they accomplished while over there at the Reverie. They had 3 goals in mind. One being a declaration of war by destroying the symbol of the celestial dragons. Number 2, freeing as many slaves as possible and retrieving Kuma. Number 3, destroying the food storage in the land of the gods. Just want to point out and say this is the second time we've seen a declaration of war towards the world government. The revolutionaries did destroy the dragon symbol and not the world governments like Luffy did, but you can argue at the same time that this is much, much worse. I mean, actually, it's not much of an argument at all. This is much worse. They did that while in the Holy Lands, destroying their symbol. That's some serious balls they have there. Kind of wish we got to see who destroyed the symbol and how it was destroyed so I can make a comparison of who's looked more badass, them or Luffy's. I'd probably side with Luffy, though, considering Luffy just did that at the whim of the moment and specifically just so he could save his friend Robin. Shout out to that moment, man. I want to live as legendary. Definitely a top 5 One Piece moment. The revolutionaries did these 3 things and it turned out well enough to make the world actually take notice. The revolutionaries are beginning to really show their hand, finally. It's in this chapter alone where we really see that the revolutionaries were playing the waiting game and the results was worth waiting for to play it patient and safe. I mean, you can only imagine how long Dragon had this in mind to actually invade the Holy Lands. It's not often where people go and do that. Alright, so check it. The dragons that live in the Holy Land are in some deep shit now. As you know, they live in this impenetrable fortress, as they like to describe it in the One Piece world. And 99.99% of them are just total dicks. They've never known struggle in their life. They always got what they wanted. They always were on the end of dishing out cruelty or whatever it may be. They've always had absolute power to get what they want when they wanted it. That is until now. Dragon begins explaining that in the 12 countries under the revolutionaries' influence, citizens have begun to revolt, and in 8 of them, the revolutions have succeeded. So that's 8 countries that succeeded in a revolution. Unfortunately, one of those countries was the Kingdom of Lelusia, and as you guys know, that mysteriously disappeared, wink wink, cutting it down to 7 countries. Along with that, it wasn't posted in any articles in the One Piece world, but the 7 countries that succeeded in the revolution, they're refusing to pay their heavenly tribute and cut off all trade exports with the government. And the revolutionary army is raiding government transports, resulting in cutting off a lot of supplies that's going towards the Holy Land. Meaning they're slowly cutting off their money and their food supplies. It's not all the supplies being transported to them that they cut off, but they're slowly starting on it. Eventually, it'll be enough to actually make the dragon start going hungry. But the best part to all that is when no resources coming into Marijuas, that means that the government is most likely going to be taxing other countries even more. And the people aren't going to be satisfied with the government, which means the revolutionaries could be taking a huge W in all this because, of course, the people are going to start more revolutions. I just love to see a fictional world built like this and witness how a huge government power can potentially slowly crumble. What led to them crumbling? Well, we're starting to actually see the cause in this. Oh man, now we gotta talk about this new group in One Piece called the Holy Knights. So Dragon brings up that, of course, the world government isn't just gonna take this, so that's why they have this group called the Holy Knights. And before anyone starts saying anything else about the Holy Knights, can we just zoom in, look at the Holy Knights, and am I tripping, or does this silhouette here look like it's Shanks? Now, I'm not saying this is actually Shanks, although it could be, but I can't wait to see the community start talking about the cloning of Shanks and how this could potentially be another clone. I'm not making fun of the community and its theories because I've always personally loved to read the theories. It's always interested me. I just find it funny that ever since we got introduced to Stussy being a clone and then the clones of the warlords, everybody has a clone allegation that they're trying to beat. No, but seriously though, let's just say this is a clone of Shanks. Let's just play with it. This would be so fucking dangerous to have 2 monsters like Shanks living in the One Piece world. I'd be very scared. Instead of red-haired Shanks, I need this clone to be a complete failure, similar to how Vegapunk says the wrong color is a failure. That way he has green hair and we can call him Green Hair Banks. How the hell am I hearing cricket noises out of that comment? Come on, Green Hair Banks. No. Alright, fine. Let's begin touching up on what actually happened between Sabo and the king of Alabasta Cobra. As we know, and not that we believed it, but as we know, Sabo is framed for killing Cobra. It was on the newspaper all over the world. The revolutionaries even got hold of it and couldn't believe their eyes. Before we do, it's important to note that in the eyes of certain countries, Sabo is regarded as a hero for the assassination of King Cobra. And I just mean the rebels in those countries see him as a hero because anyone associated with the world government, no matter how nice and kind-hearted they are, is seen as scum and evil. They're just the same as anybody else in the world government. Which sucks too because Cobra was such an awesome king, man. He was really cool. He was the only king to actually stay in his country and not move to the Holy Lands with the other dickheads. But here's the truth behind the scoop of the article. On the newspaper article that was printed out about King Cobra's assassination, Sabo is on picture next to King Cobra's dead body. They got my boy in 4K. Sabo, how did they catch you in 4K? Not gonna lie, I'd probably believe it too if I was just a random person in the One Piece world. I mean, they got him right next to the king's dead body looking all suspicious, and he's a revolutionary. The narrative is the revolutionaries is the bad guys. Or at least that's how the world government would try to spin it. They got him good with that one. There's probably an easy explanation as how Sabo got caught on 4K. Sabo probably ran in the room after King Cobra was actually assassinated by somebody else. And unfortunately for Sabo, he was at the right place where the camera was positioned and the world government said, fuck it, print that out. The world government is like TMZ for real. They put a picture in the newspaper and put a completely fake headline. Now, let's take it back a month ago when the Reverie was actually going on. The land of the gods is on fire and all the celestial dragons are freaking out. They're running in a panic. They claim that the food storage has just exploded and wreaking havoc all over their city. They realize that they destroyed the symbol of the world nobility. At this point, they're just trying to get to safety and make sure that they're not harmed in any way. But a lot of them are still assholes, even in a moment like this. And of course they are. They know that they're at the Holy Lands and they have maximum protection, even from admirals. This one dragon has a pirate as a slave and he's trying to get him to move faster so they could get out of there. The pirate is obviously exhausted and this dragon had enough with him, so he decides to walk by himself. But of course he's going to take out his gun and try to end his life before walking on his own because he considers him useless. And that's where the boy Karusu from the Revolutionary Army swoops in. Karusu swoops in with his crows and takes the gun of that dragon and saves the pirate's life. I can't remember if he communicated like this in the past when we saw him, but he can communicate through his crows and tells the pirate to run to the east of the town. More people working for the world government approaches Karusu and tries to shoot him down, but the bullets go right through him and it looks like he's a Logia, I want to say, I think? Karusu then proceeds to slash them with a move called 10,000 Slashes. And here's his nameplate, Revolutionary Army Northern Commander Karusu, a suit fruit user. No, damn it, I'm not talking about a tuxedo suit. Suit. If you were like me and reading this chapter and saying, what the hell is suit? I got you with the definition. It's a black powdery or flaky substance consisting largely of amorphous carbon produced by the incomplete burning of organic matter. And it looks like this. Now that I think about it, this does mean that Karusu is a Logia Devil Fruit user. It just so happens to be that Karusu really loves his crows, which is awesome because I was expecting him to be some kind of zone user, so Oda really just turned this on me. Next is the appearance of the commander Lindbergh. Karusu notices some pretty powerful people heading their way and tells Lindbergh to hurry up and free them, the people of course, and flies towards Fujitora. Alright, some Fujitora action. Here's an admiral I've been waiting for to see again. And Karusu shoots some crows in his direction. Meanwhile, Morley, the commander for the revolutionaries, is fighting Green Bull and manages to stab through Green Bull's hand. This guy Fujitora is hilarious because you want to know what he does next? He plans on dropping a whole meteorite down on the Holy Land. It does not matter to him that Celestials could possibly be hurt in all of this. I guess he's like, for the greater good, it's worth it. Hey, I'm with you, Fujitora. Just for this alone, to destroy some dragons? Fuck it, do it. 2 admirals. If this wasn't the Holy Land, the entire landscape would have been obliterated just by them alone. This comes from the mouths of the returning CP9 that is now CP0. We've seen Rob Lucci and Kaku, and now it looks like the rest of the CP9 members are here. And the great return of the Chapa Papa Pa, this guy. How many of you guys are happy to see CP9 all made it? How many of you guys are happy to see that they actually advanced to CP0? This is why I love Oda, never forgetting the old classic characters. CP9 was a force to be reckoned with back in the Water 7 days, and it's great to see them still relevant. And it's great to see that Robin's brother is still doing alright. Okay, Sabo is now in Pangaea Castle. He witnesses Kuma has been moved to Pangaea Castle, getting moved by two of the dragons, St. Charlos and St. Rosward. He just knows that they're about to get revenge on Kuma for what happened back at the socializing plaza. And he knows that he hasn't given up hope on trying to make Shirahoshi his own. If the plan is to go into play, now's the time. We can even see Bonnie when she was at the Reverie, running, trying to find her dad Kuma. Then an interaction between Rob Lucci and Princess Vivi. This is what an awesome friend Vivi is, and it's why I love her so much. Asking Rob Lucci to leave her the hell alone, she's gonna go ask Vice Admiral Garp for some help. Lucci claims that they're gonna protect Shirahoshi, but Vivi just knows that they won't. She wants to make sure that Shirahoshi is gonna be alright and no celestial dragon is gonna try to kidnap her or try to make her their slave. It's only a matter of time before she'll become a target again. Finally, in the last two panels for the chapter, King Cobra has a meeting with the Gorosei. He's with Chaka and Pell, and they're not allowed to come with him to meet the Gorosei. He claims it won't take long, but waiting outside is going to be boring, and asks Chaka and Pell to please guard Vivi for him, and to take care of his daughter. And it makes me sit there and say, damn, most likely the king knew that it was about to be his time. He knew that whatever this conversation was about to be with the Gorosei, that it wouldn't be long before he's not breathing anymore. And he asked Pell and Chaka to watch over his daughter after he's dead. And as we saw from the newspaper and the results of the Reverie, it wasn't long after until he was actually dead. It really makes me wonder, though, if the intentions of the Gorosei was already to kill Cobra, or was it something that Cobra said that was way out of line that the Gorosei said, no, we need to eliminate him now, get him out of here, and finish the job. So once again, I say Sabo was set up perfectly. The Gorosei got rid of the king, and the people is not going to be just hush-hush for the king. It's obviously going to be a big deal, especially one of the kings from the original 12 kingdoms. Sabo just happened to be there, walked into the room when the king was dead. The cameras caught Sabo in 4K, took the picture, and the rest is history. It shifts the blame from the world government onto Sabo, someone who's a part of the revolutionaries. That's the end of this chapter. Hopefully next week we can continue from what we saw this week. We all definitely got some questions as what Cobra said to make the Gorosei kill him. Maybe it was something that Cobra knew about Pluton, or something that he said he was going to do with Pluton that the government disagreed with. And I wonder, I have one question for you guys who are still listening. Did you guys think that Egghead arc would turn out this big? Because admittedly, when we got to Egghead, I originally thought this was just going to be another side fun adventure like the old days, before heading into the dark end of things for One Piece. But it looks like we're getting all those answers now during Egghead, and there's no complaints from me. I'm loving it, and I'm sure you guys are loving it too. Based on where we're at in the story, how would you rate Egghead so far? I'm curious to hear your guys' answers. But that's it for today. I'll see you guys for the next One Piece chapter. I should have another One Punch Man chapter coming up, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Like, comment, sub, do all that good stuff. See ya.